This is Crackdown. We're on Xbox Series X, taking a look at the game that has a boosted resolution, greatly improved FPS, and auto HDR, making this open world sandbox game of destruction and mayhem just a little bit more wild. So if you're not familiar with Crackdown, you're kind of a super agent. As you're roaming the streets, cleaning up crime, you're basically improving your abilities. So you see that on the top left there, you have a series of skills, and you grow these skills by doing different things, such as collecting Agility Orbs, which make just the most amazing sound in the world, shooting guns, making explosions, punching people out, driving around, doing stuff like that, seeing how the I guess they're not orbs, but little points kind of go into my character and kind of improve my abilities. You actually change a lot too. Your character will grow in size and you'll become bigger and bigger like my character is, which I think I'm the max character size, as to say, like agility wise and everything like that. And then there's also some fun modes too, where it's a little less serious that you can jump into. And yeah, the game is actually entirely free as well on Xbox, which is kind of great. So it doesn't hurt to jump in and play this kind of classic and I think decently well loved kind of game that was originally just something you'd buy so that you could get into the Halo 3 beta back in the day. But yeah, I remember playing this on the One X, and while it was, enhanced, looking way better, now, with the HDR, with the actual extra power up out there, it's running, far more fluidly than it did there. This actually can really handle the wild destruction situations that arise when you're roaming around this intense city. And again, the HDR and stuff really does add a nice kind of visual edge. See, the cool thing about Crackdown is it's got a bit of a cell shaded style to it, and that art look really does help make the game, I guess you could say, look really good when it's being upscaled and improved resolution wise. It just makes it look really sharp and clean. And I think that helps a lot for making it look almost as though it came out in today's time. Now, I know we've gotten Crackdown 3, which actually does look really good from an artistic standpoint, but this one also, kind of looks similar to it, just not as, I guess you could say, detailed in some regards in some of the smaller areas. But seriously, the density of people, the cars, the open world cities, it all really does run quite well. And I'm assuming, I can't really hear it too much, but that's the the agency guy giving me crap for blowing up things I'm not supposed to be blowing up, aka regular folks, because that's not good. So it's also a great game for co-op too. So you can play by yourself, or you can grab a friend for a co-op, which is kind of, I don't know, a little bit more fun. I played this back in the day with friends, causing mayhem, destroying bad guys, having a good time. It's quite fun. So what you're doing is, it's a very simple kind of open world. You don't really necessarily have a lot of focus. There is a bit of a narrative to it, but you're not really doing anything too heavy. You're just collecting new weapons, taking out these bosses that show up across the world, collecting orbs, having a good time, blasting away bad guys, and, actually I think the story might be a little surprising to some individuals if you haven't played the game before, because it does have a little bit of a hook to it. If you played the game, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's one of those games that I really did love back in the day. I genuinely did enjoy this one. It's a lot of fun. I even think the third one is pretty good too. It's kind of interesting. But you just gotta remember, these are just explosive sandboxes where the goal is to kind of cause intense mayhem and to have a good time doing it. And I think it hits the mark in presenting a world that you can kind of explore and run through. Because you gotta remember, my character is rather strong. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they can jump different heights. Whereas when you first start, your character is a little bit weaker. It takes time for you to basically be able to be a tank. But then there's a keys to the city mode where you can just straight up, kind of cheat your way to stuff. But you get the gist of what I'm saying, is that you gotta improve your character, and then you're able to take on more situations and areas. It also loads insanely faster in comparison to what it used to load. And you see we have these different sections. You got the agency in the middle, but we've got these, kind of different zones that you can go into. Oh, that's Shangjing. I think that's the one with the big tower and stuff like that. Okay, let's go here. But yeah, you know, you get all these different areas you can visit across the open world. Like, look how fast that loaded. That's insane. And then you get to a different area, and you know, there's different bosses, different types of enemies. It changes a little bit the environment too.
The Shy-Gen Corporation is a sinister and pervasive force for
Yes, yes, yes. I don't know why I'm getting dossiers. I've finished everything. It's kind of funny, but yeah, it's interesting. I even had like a boss show up in like the industrial area, which is kind of weird because I'm like, I've completed this game. But anyways, there's all these different like areas and buildings you can tackle. And as you improve your skills, you're able to go to new buildings, like higher buildings. You're able to jump further. You're able to scale quicker. You're able to cause more mayhem. And I think that's quite a lot of fun and really does add to the experience of what this has to offer. So you see like some slight load-in, like pop-in stuff with the environment. That's something that the enhancements can't really fix. And it's just not possible. But still, the game itself, really running and looking better than it ever has. I'd say it's generally in a perfect state now, which is kind of, you know, impressive. You know, it's just really weird to get this sort of visual upgrade while also having something that is just really playing solid. This is kind of, I guess you could say, the original intention of the developers in regards to the performance, actually how it was hoping, or how they hoped it would run back in the day, generations ago. But now you've got the big explosions, and it seems to just be like completely hitting the mark in that regard. Because this game can get a little nuts. It's a bit of an understatement, I guess you could say. Like, just in regards to like what's going on in the mayhem you're causing. So it's kind of really, really cool to have it running in this way. Not bad. Civilians, but you know, you gotta clean up the streets. It's just kind of wild to take a look at this game, because I still do find it really fun. I think it's really quite a cool experience. It's definitely something different, because you don't get too many games that are like this. I mean, they always try to do different things at the sandbox, whereas this one is just kind of about causing as much mayhem as possible and having as much fun and action as possible, and doing that alone or with another player, which I think is kind of cool. And it's just a wild, sort of different game that I feel, you know, didn't necessarily get as much credit or love or care that it really should have when it released. I mean, there was a lot of people playing it, but there's mostly they were grabbing it just for the Halo demo, and then years later, you know, it kind of fallen out a little bit. I mean, we had the Crackdown 3 and all the stuff around that one, but I think definitely this is still a game that's worth checking out just because it's so interesting and different. That's really what it is. The mechanics and the style of it might seem a little simple for today's time, but it's still something engaging that you can spend a lot of time, you know, playing if you're starting from scratch, or if you're trying to just have fun by like throwing on the different mods and stuff like that. Well, they're not really mods, but you know, the keys to the city editions and options. By turning those on, you can definitely have a lot of fun. I don't know if you're actually supposed to be able to shoot that. We're always scaling this building and then like battling the big bosses and stuff. It's kind of fun. What is it, Peacekeepers? What's going on? Are there bad guys in there? That's not good. And then the snap-on system, which is the aiming in this one a little bit in at times, you know? But still, Crackdown, really cool. And I think, you know, if it does get another chance at a revisit, I think if they do it right, this could actually provide such a compelling concept for a game. And they just need to do, like, hit the right mark and everything like that. And really understand that this, you know, this isn't like a huge AAA game. It really isn't. This is like a mid-tier explosions fest. That's what Crackdown's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be super serious. It's not supposed to be like really intense or like emotionally driven. It's just supposed to be kind of intense battles, crazy explosions, and having fun with a pal if you have one, or finding a match online with other people. That's really what the heart of the experience is supposed to be about. And I don't necessarily think that they always quite get that with this one. Even though I did find that 3 kind of actually did, you know, kind of live up to the standards of the series. At least I thought so. And even the second one I find kind of fun. It's like there's zombie creatures and stuff, but I know it's not necessarily for everyone. Yeah, you can like pick up bodies and stuff and throw them too. Oh, I messed that up. My bad. I'm trying to like throw this on body. You can like hit other people with it. It's kind of funny. Oh, jeez, I'm just gonna have to rocket my way out of here. Oh, I died. Well, that's tragic. Can't believe I got blasted away. But there's lots of bosses, lots of things to do. You know, you can get a good amount of time with this one. Still a really fun game. Obviously, you know, if you have the time, you should jump to the top of the agency, where I'm trying to find where that is relative to where I am. Somewhere out there. It's a massive thing in the middle of everything, so you can jump up on that one. It's just kind of a treat to reach the top of it, because I remember doing that. You know, when I was younger, I was like, this took forever to scale, and once you get up there, you're like, oh, you can see the whole thing, this is wild, and all cutting edge and stuff. And I mean, I've seen crazier things since, but there's still something about the fun scale of this one. You know, being like a little scrawny agent, and then like just pumping yourself up, and then you just become like this huge monster, just like destroying stuff, causing like chaos and destruction, and not really caring because, you know, you've got one goal. You go from like barely being able to touch cards to being able to like just kick them aside and stuff. It's a crazy sense of progression. I wish more games kind of did that, where they made those changes to what your character is like over time. I think that's a little bit fun and a little bit different of an experience because it's set up like that. And that's why it makes Crackdown such a compelling thing. I mean, there's day and night cycles too, if you didn't know that. You can kind of see that changing over time, but just a really memorable, good game that I still do suggest to people if they want something that's a little bit silly, a little bit easier going and fun, and, you know, not too serious of a time. It really does hit the mark for that. Oh, there's the agency building. Getting to the top of that's always fun. Where's the main villain tower over here? Bigger? I don't know. Can't quite remember, but yeah, let's Crackdown.